Now, game production and consumption have increased dramatically throughout the African continent in recent years. The sector has the potential to become a significant economic engine for the continent, and this trend is about to continue. The African gaming sector will look for explosive expansion because of the continent's youthful and tech-savvy population and rising levels of internet connectivity. There are, however, obstacles to this expansion, such as insufficient financing for game creation and a need for more necessary infrastructure. On the show today, we will focus on the potentials and opportunities in this sector. Welcome to Business Insight on Plus TV Africa. I am Justin Akadonye. Now, first off, it has been a tough one for the nation's economy, with the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, confirming slower growth, while the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, raised the benchmark interest rate by another 0.5 points, suggesting that growth is not yet its priority. Now, MPC has had an unbroken monetary tightening run in the past 12 months, raising the interest rate from 11.5% to 18.5%. Yet, inflation has remained stubbornly high at 22.2% at last reading. Now, the NBS had released the Q1 gross domestic product data, which showed that the growth momentum since last year had weakened in the first 3 months of the year considerably. Now, I had a chat with the CEO of Streetnomics on this development, and he had this to say. Take a listen.
Expected that the central bank was going to raise interest rates, although not significantly too high, and that's because there's still a lot of dust in the air, coming from the election to the transitioning of government, and the policy uncertainties ahead, and what we expect in terms of how the Nigerian economy is going to fare in the coming months. So all of these series of events have sort of positioned the need to wait and see. But however, since Apex institutions have not been in the habit of holding rates in the past 1 year, we expected at least a 0.5% increase, which was exactly what happened, to the tune of 18.5%. Now, on the conversation of interest rates impacting on inflation, it's a different narrative because the inflation we're currently faced with is a non-monetary inflation triggered, and we have a situation where this particular inflation is more informed and skewed by geopolitical risk, geopolitical tensions, climate change, post-COVID supply chain disruptions, an evolving energy crisis, and the like. So when you cluster that all together in context to the vulnerability state or the vulnerable positioning of the Nigerian economy, you begin to realize that the inflation hits us differently, and as a result, veering deeper into a cost of living crisis, poverty trap, and all the like. So meaning that the drive and approach to fixing this inflation we're faced with needs to be more coordinated and tactical, and that's to say that the interest rates at best would lead a necessary condition in terms of, you still need to use a monetary instrument to deal with inflation. But because this inflation is largely non-monetary, there needs to be a mix of both the interest rates as an instrument and maybe a fiscal authority or a fiscal instrument, or from some of other collaborative instruments that could be used, sort of like a tool mix, to address inflation at the root core. Anything largely beyond that would say that, would largely continue on this trend of interest rates not significantly impacting on inflation and all the like. So I think we need to unlearn to relearn the dynamics of the times we live in. In 2020, nobody ever believed that a global health pandemic will lead to a global lockdown, and as a result, a global recession. You don't assume that the financial crisis or something of sort, will lead to a global recession. But the world has changed, and that's to help us understand how much of globalization are strongly reinforcing interdependence of social economics, and how that could also impact on virtually everything else. So I think we need to have a proper rethink, and if possible reapproach the solutions to dealing with the inflations that we live in right now. And also safe to say that it's a global phenomenon, but for countries who are on the vulnerable end of the value chain, it's largely difficult to deal in the mid to long term. But let's hope that the policy direction of the president-elect would really look at things from a different lens, and will sort of help to balance out, that use of interest rates, also in empowering the real sector and in driving down inflationary numbers. Thank you. Yeah, it was.
Welcome back. That was Gospel Obeli giving his own insight concerning the interest rate that was just increased to 18.5% by the MPC on Wednesday. Our focus will be turned to the games industry in Nigeria and Africa. In a moment, I'll be introducing my guest. Don't go away. Stay with us.